Clay soil has a reputation that makes most gardeners sigh. The kind of soil that clings to your shovel, resists every dig, and turns every watering into a guessing game between flood and drought.
It's dense, sticky, and stubborn.
Yet hidden within that heavy texture lies one of the richest natural resources a garden could ever have, if only it's unlocked correctly. Beneath the frustration is untapped potential, waiting for a transformation that turns lifeless clay into a living, breathing powerhouse for roots to thrive. What if the soil that once suffocated your plants could become the secret to unstoppable growth, a foundation that multiplies root strength by tenfold, turning even the most compacted ground into a thriving ecosystem? This isn't a gardener's myth or a passing trend, it's a proven, science-backed transformation technique trusted by professional horticulturists and adapted for home gardeners who want to see real, lasting change. The truth is, clay soil isn't bad, it's misunderstood. It's rich in minerals, brimming with nutrients, and has an incredible ability to hold on to what plants need most.
The issue lies not in fertility but in structure.
Clay particles are incredibly fine, so fine that they pack tightly together, leaving almost no room for oxygen or drainage. The result is suffocating roots, stagnant water, and lifeless soil.
But when we stop fighting the clay and start re-engineering it, the story changes completely.
The key lies in transforming clay's compact nature into a network of open channels that breathe life back into the earth. To do this, two simple components work in perfect harmony: organic carbon and a calcium-based flocculant. When they meet, something remarkable happens. Clay particles clump together into larger aggregates, opening up air pockets and drainage paths. This process, known as flocculation, is nature's way of rebuilding soil from the inside out.
You don't need fancy products or endless digging to make it work.
The most effective formula starts with two accessible ingredients: well-finished compost or worm castings, and gypsum, which is calcium sulfate. The compost provides organic carbon, while the gypsum gently binds and restructures the clay without altering the soil's pH. For every 1 square meter of clay, all it takes is 2 kilograms of compost and 150 grams of gypsum, mixed into the top 15 centimeters of soil. Water it in thoroughly and let nature begin its silent engineering. Within weeks, the difference becomes visible. The soil that once felt like cement begins to crumble easily between your fingers. Air pockets appear. Microbes awaken. And roots that once twisted in frustration now stretch freely through the loosened structure. But this is just the beginning. Because the true transformation doesn't come from the compost or the gypsum, it comes from life itself. Healthy soil is a living ecosystem, not just a mixture of minerals.
The next step is to feed and multiply that living network.
You can do this with what's known as a microbial accelerator, a homemade brew that supercharges soil biology. One of the most effective recipes uses 1 cup of worm castings, 1 tablespoon of unsulfured molasses, and 4 liters of non-chlorinated water. When aerated for 24 hours, this mix teems with beneficial microbes that, once applied, start producing natural compounds like glomalin, the glue that binds soil particles into stable, porous aggregates.
Once you apply this living tea to the gypsum compost mix, the soil begins to rebuild itself.
Fungal threads spread like invisible roots, weaving the clay together into a living fabric that breathes, holds moisture evenly, and supports rapid root expansion.
In as little as 3 weeks, you can physically feel the difference. The soil becomes soft yet structured, moist yet well drained. It's no longer a barrier to root growth but a launchpad for it. However, the transformation doesn't stop at the surface.
Clay's biggest challenge often lies below the top 15 centimeters, a dense sublayer that blocks deep root penetration.
Breaking through it manually is exhausting, and tilling can do more harm than good.
Instead, the secret lies in using nature's own engineers, plants with powerful taproots. Cover crops like daikon radish, alfalfa, or crimson clover act as natural subsoilers. Their deep, penetrating roots drill through compacted layers, creating vertical tunnels that allow air, water, and nutrients to flow deeper. When these plants complete their cycle and decay, they leave behind rich organic pathways that your future crops can follow. For the best results, sow around 200 grams of daikon radish seed per 100 square meters in late summer or early fall, then let nature do its work. By the following season, your vegetables, flowers, or fruit trees will send their roots deep through the old radish channels, accessing moisture and minerals that were once locked away. This is where the real magic happens. Roots that used to struggle at the surface now grow thicker, stronger, and far deeper, anchoring plants firmly and making them naturally drought-resistant.
Once your clay begins to breathe, it's time to maintain that structure and protect it from reverting.
A layer of organic mulch, shredded leaves, straw, or aged bark, is your best defense. It shields the surface from erosion, keeps the temperature stable, and prevents the top layer from sealing during rain. Just a 2 to 3 centimeters layer can make all the difference.
But here's one critical rule: never walk on wet clay.
Even the most carefully improved soil can recompact under pressure. Use stepping stones, garden boards, or raised beds if necessary. If you build raised beds, make sure they're at least 30 centimeters deep with a base layer of amended clay beneath.
If your garden has been a battlefield of compacted earth and struggling plants, it doesn't have to stay that way.
The process is simple, the materials are natural, and the results are profound. With just compost, gypsum, and the living power of microbes, you can rewrite your soil's story and watch your plants explode with life like never before.
Thousands of gardeners have already seen the transformation, not in years, but within a single season.
The shovel that once stuck in the ground now sinks easily.
The plants that once wilted now thrive. And the ground beneath your feet becomes a living system that sustains itself.
If you found value in this guide, share it with someone who's been struggling with clay soil. Because when more gardeners learn to work with their soil instead of fighting it, we don't just grow better plants, we rebuild the earth from the roots up.